Hey, what's up, everybody? Jägermeister here again, and today we're going to continue on with the second part of the last video, which was the secrets of twinking. I haven't really planned this out. I'm kind of winging it, so I apologize if I'm a little all over the place. But so we talked about the bank, the auction house. We talked about chromie time. We talked about setting up your base, doing dungeons in that area, and then we also talked kind of basics of getting good, kind of setting a goal for yourself and figuring out what that goal is. I guess figuring out the goal, then setting it, right? Like, what do you want to what do you want to achieve in the game? You know, do you want to be overpowered? Do you want to, have the best gear in the game? Have some of these higher item level things, or is your goal more mount collecting? Is it gold making? Is it PvP, PvE, world events? Or are you just into festivals? You going for trial style? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Maybe you're trying to achieve all of those. Maybe you're trying to do all the quests in a certain zone, and so you want to lock your XP and be able to do those zones efficiently. Whatever your goal is, now that you've set it, I'm assuming you watched the first video. Now that you've set it, let's talk about how to achieve those goals, right? Obviously, if we start with mount collecting, general outline, do dungeons, farm mounts, look up where they go, try to get to those zones. Keep in mind, at a lower level, you're going to have a limitation of what dungeons, what content you can get into. You can't even get into a raid at this level, right? So maybe 25 or 30, I guess 30 now, is where they set it, is the first raids, and that takes you through vanilla, BC, and Wrath. And I think 35. I think you can get into raids at 30. Maybe it's dungeons at 30 and then raids at 35 for Kata. I'm guessing it just jumps up 5 levels each expansion after that, or thereabouts. I haven't looked too much into it, but essentially it doesn't really matter because I'm level 20, right? So figure out what mounts you want to farm, and farm them, right? Gold making. We talked about the auction house. We talked about storing items specific ways, and we talked about kids walking by. Everybody's walking by right here. It's a bad spot. Excuse me. Yep. All right. So when it comes to gold making, there's a couple different things that Twinks are really good at, and we're going to talk about those now. Now, this isn't an exhaustive list. This is just a couple suggestions that'll get you kind of pointed in the right direction, right? So there's transmog farming. That's the big one. That's going to be your big ticket items. So places like Scarlet Monastery is a huge one for transmog farming because you have the Scarlet sets. I don't think the Tabard is buying. I think the Tabard's buying on pickup. I don't believe it used to be, but I think it is now. I could be wrong on that. It may have always been BOP. But, yeah, so you've got your transmogs. You've got your trade goods that you can farm. So that could be anything from like ores, herbs, food, potions, whatever you'd make with your professions and or farm out in the world. Those are big, and those are broke down into like consumables and also like materials. There's a lot of materials out there that if you go to the auction house, you will you can sell for a lot, right? There's also raw gold farms, and these are a little bit more difficult these days. I could, a year ago, 5 years ago, I could have told you 10 gold farms off the top of my head, because I would farm them, right? I mean, I can tell you where they are now. If you go to your map, I can tell you one right here. If you have a flight path up here, I would say come up here and farm this area. This area right here gives you what's that called? Life? Something life? Can't remember. I don't even think I have any on me now. But it's not motes of life, but it's life essence or essence of life or something like that. But essentially, those are really important for a lot of different farms. And if you've never been to this zone and you haven't done the quests in these areas, that's super important. You don't want to do the quests for this section. You want these mobs to be hostile. You don't want them to be friendly. If you walk up into this front gate and those guys are saying hi and waving, you're going to have a hard time with this farm, because those mobs need to be hostile. And that's a secret that a twink can do that a normal player, a normal high-end player, can't do, because he's already done this quest. He's already turned those mobs friendly. And so now that farm is locked out to him. He's completely locked out of that farm, right? And you can go there, farm Essence of Life, I believe is what it's called. Life Essence, whatever it is. There's a couple other farms throughout here, but honestly, they're not that great. I mean, there's some thorium around here, but it's sporadic. You'd be better off farming thorium in Silithus. Oops, Silithus. Oh, okay. I see what happened there. So here's another secret farm that a lot of people don't know about. When it comes to farming ores, Silithus is probably king because of this person right here. So if you didn't know, some zones have these kind of priest-looking people standing in light beams, and if you talk to them, they'll show you the old world of that zone. A lot of these zones are kind of stuck in the BFA world, and in order to reverse that, you have to talk to this NPC, and they'll reveal the old world for you. And that's huge, because 90% of players are not on that fragmented plane of existence, right? So they're on the normal, whatever the normal is, which is the current, right? It's the norm. So they're going to be on the one with the giant sword stuck in the zone right here, where this shows the old version of the zone, because I've done talk to her already. And so I'll do my farm around the zone for my ore, and then that's it. There's no point in going to these catacombs unless you see true silver ore and you need it for something. But if you don't need it, this is a good farm because you're going to be phased differently, right? So we talked about mounts, we talked about gold making, we talked about farming. For you herbs and skinners out there, skinning is pretty self-explanatory. You skin in the zone that you want to be in. Herbs is a little bit more complicated. I would say if you want to be an herb farmer, I would highly suggest getting a druid or getting a golem mount. If you don't want a druid, I'm working on my golem mount right now. I still don't have it. I'm so lazy on making those stupid Jared charges or whatever they're called. I actually need to make mine right now. I might have an anvil on me. Yeah, sure. Okay, let's do this. So the golem, and this is a good selling item, is the golem. Alright, requires level 30, but you can give it to one of your higher level characters and then use it. And then it takes living steel, so you need an alchemist to make that. So a little profession sharing there. And then you need to make these procured or jards peculiar energy source. So I need to make mine. So if you're ever on this page, you just put golem in there, and then you hold down shift and you click this, and it'll highlight everything over here on the left that has this item in it, right? And obviously I need to get some more ghost iron ore, but these take ghost iron ore. So we'll go ahead and make that. Boom. And then this item has a 24-hour cooldown. Cooldown reset daily. So when making this item, you can only make it once a day, right? So another good farm would be Ghost Iron Farm. So you go to the map, go down to Pandaland, start the quest here at Chromie Time for this zone, and then it's full, the whole thing's full of Ghost Iron. If you want a good farm to do, like the best farm to do, it would be with a flying mount, a higher end character, and doing this zone right here. So you just pretty much swoop down into this city, flew across here, come back around, and you just go in a big giant, like, kind of weird circle. Okay. Trial style stuff, that's transmog. You have to farm your own transmog, so maybe you can sell transmog on the side. I'm kind of forgetting all the rest of the ones, but this goal is the goal of this video is just kind of recap. Go to the next step, which is implement your plan, and giving some ideas of how to get that started when it comes to the things we talked about last video. In the next video, I think we're going to go over some more of the basics of how to set up your Twink, and maybe some secrets slid in there in regards to things that'll help you achieve that goal. Alright guys, that's it for this one. See you in the next one. Jägermeister out.